wide variety of transactions at supermarkets, variety stores, gas stations, pharmacies, and more. Shop online at the most popular websites and stores for quality brands using your national debit or black cards. And take back your time to enjoy all the things that you love to do. Remember, instead of waiting in long ATM lines to withdraw cash, use your National Bank cards today.
National Bank, always here. Welcome back to the program, and let me say good morning to Inspector Alwick Edwards. How are you doing today, sir?
Good morning, GQ.
And let me say good morning to Superintendent Cromwell Henry. Good morning. How are you doing today, sir?
Morning. Not bad at all.
Good,
Thank you.
good. All right, so Inspector, what's on the agenda for today?
Well, as GQ alluded, I am Inspector Alwick Edwards, and I am the host for today's program, Police Review. This morning, I have the privilege to introduce my guest, Superintendent Cromwell Henry, Divisional Commander for District A, and the police representative on the National Emergency Operations Center. This show will take its normal pattern, that is introduction of guests, question and answer segment, then closing. Please introduce yourself to listening audience, Superintendent Henry.
Well, I've been here for so long, I don't know if I need any introduction. But just in case those persons who are joining for the first time, I'm Superintendent Cromwell Henry. And as the Inspector said, I'm one of the police representatives on the National COVID Task Force and the officer responsible for Division A.
Thank you, Superintendent Cromwell Henry. In your presentation yesterday at the weekly briefing of the National Emergency Operations Center, you spoke about daycare centers. We go straight into our question and answer segment, sir. What is the issue? What is the issue with daycare centers?
Well, first of all, we know the age group that populates those centers, very young children between, but it's a nursery as well, daycare center, so it means children of the nursery age, a couple of months old, up to 5 years, 4 years. So you have those very young children in these centers, and so they are very particularly vulnerable, and at higher risk. It's difficult for children to socially distance themselves from each other. Physical distance, that is very difficult for children.
Very hard to get them keep still.
Right, and so you have to use other measures, other strict measures,
right,
to ensure that they remain safe and not exposed to the virus. And so the regulations require the Ministry of Education, the early childhood units within that ministry, to enforce the provision, the protocols within the regulations to ensure that the children are safe, are protected, or reduce the risk of transmission of the disease among the children is reduced. And so it sets out protocols specifically for daycare centers and early childhood units. Deals with hygiene, general hygiene, food preparation, the behavior of parents on the compound, what parents could do, where they can go, the conduct of parents generally on the premises, and he speaks to other safety measures for the children to protect them from contamination or be affecting each other. So these guidelines are set out in the COVID regulations, and the early childhood unit is responsible for ensuring that these guidelines are followed and certifying the school ready to operate. So before the center could operate, they must have that inspection done by the early childhood unit, certifying that everything is in place and issuing a certificate.
Yeah, thank you, Superintendent Henry. How can the center know when it meets the current requirement?
Well, they will get a certificate.
Okay.
So once you get that certificate from the inspectors, then you meet all the requirements. But the problem that we are having is that there are some centers who are operating having not meet that standard. And that is where the problem is.
Thank you again, sir. The hosting of events continue to be a challenge. We have now had at least one event on each island that has had gross disregard for the protocols that were agreed to. What would you say at this stage to event organizers and promoters?
Well, I don't know if I can say anything to them now that we haven't been saying from day one. The regulations are clear as to the conduct of people at these particular gatherings. We know internationally, worldwide, these are recommendations from the CDC and the World Health Organization, protocols that prevents the spread of the virus. There's no medical cure, there is no vaccine, and so we have to use non-pharmaceutical means, which are the wearing of masks, hand sanitization, and social distancing. Social distancing specifically refers to avoiding crowds, and most of these entertainment, in fact all of these entertainment activity brings people together in large crowds. And so while we can totally eliminate the coming together of people, we try to reduce the numbers. And so one of the main restriction that we have on these type of activities is the number of persons who are attending, especially given the size of the venue. So we try to have strict control over the number of persons who are permitted to attend, and so we ask organizers to sell tickets in advance of the event, not on the night of the event. And it's better if you sell it online, where you could have a record of the persons who are purchasing, and this would be important for contact tracing. We know that it's not necessarily mean the person who purchased the ticket online will be the person who attend, but we have other measures in place to fix that.
Right.
So we require them at the entry point to take the names of the person who are attending. So we have the names of the persons who are purchasing the ticket online from the online record, and then we have a record, a log at the gate for persons who are attending to log them, register their names, so we will know the actual persons who attend. And this is just a precautionary measure, just in case there is an outbreak that could be linked to that event. We will be able to, the contact tracing process will be easier, because we will have an idea of who were present and just go straight to those persons rather than having to wonder if GK was there. And we know GK was there because his name is on this. And so that is usually one of the requirements. Of course, the other requirements are the wearing of masks. That has to be a stipulation. That has to be a condition of entry, and sanitization. You must have sanitization stations around the venue. You must sanitize persons upon entry, and ensure that the surfaces where people would touch regularly, the bathrooms, the mics, those things are sanitized regularly throughout the event. So these are the general conditions that are laid down, and which promoters are aware of, and which they usually agree to before the event.
Thank you, Superintendent. Since the event in St. Kitts that caused quite a stir, have any event been shut down?
Well, yes, we've had reasons to stop. Just last weekend, there were at least 2 or 3 parties that were stopped for those very reasons. The stipulation, they had specific numbers of persons who were permitted at the venues, and they had twice the amount at the venue. They had stipulation on the requirement to log the names of persons attending the party. That was not done, or was not done adequately. And so, well, and I don't even mention the wearing of masks and the social distancing. I mean, everybody was just totally ignoring those. And so these parties were stopped, ended prematurely. Of course, the organizers were not happy, because they would have spent money to buy drinks, to buy food, and all that would have gone to waste. So we do not take pleasure in doing that, but that would have to be what would happen going forward if persons do not take steps to ensure that they follow the guidelines, because we cannot continue to disregard these protocols, because these are the things that are going to reduce the risk and going to keep us safe. You don't want to host a party and then the next day, 14 days later, you hear half of the people at the party have COVID. I mean, how are you going to feel as a promoter? You yourself might be affected as well. So we try to prevent that from happening, and so the guidelines are strictly for that, not to make life hard for the promoters. People see it that way, that why I am making things hard for me. I got to go buy sanitizer, I got to go buy this. and I can't bring them other people that I want. But it's for your own good, because it will cost you more in the end if you don't take these steps. People become sick in your venue, and somebody decide to take legal action against you because I come to your party that you invite me to. You didn't take the necessary precautions to protect me, and I become sick. There might be some liability there for you. So we are protecting you too. So don't see it as we making life hard for you as promoters or as organizers. We are protecting you from liability, because if you don't take these precautions and people become sick, then you have some liability.
Yeah. Thank you again, Superintendent Henry. Let us break at this juncture from our sponsors. On our return, we'll open the lines and solicit calling from the general public. Thank you.
Stop standing in long ATM lines to withdraw cash. Use your national debit or black cards to complete a wide variety of transactions at supermarkets, variety stores, gas stations, pharmacies, and more. Shop online at the most popular websites and stores for quality brands using your national debit or black cards. And take back your time to enjoy all the things that you love to do. Remember, instead of waiting in long ATM lines to withdraw cash, use your national bank cards today.
National Bank, always here.
Local and delicious, naturally refreshing, environmentally friendly, mothers approved. Try Mother Becky Teas and Quenchers, available at your local grocer. St. Kitts and Nevis, hear this. Europa Hardware, the official steel dealer for garden power tools, announces its big Europa 6th anniversary sale. Take advantage of 15% discount off on weed eaters with a 1 pound trimmer line and a 1 liter engine oil. Chainsaws, blowers, hedge trimmers. In fact, all steel machinery store-wide is 15% off. Visit us on Keon Street in the Old Singer Building or call us at 465-4555 for Europa. Don't miss it. Europa's 6th anniversary sale, the 1st and 2nd of October. Europa Hardware, thanks to St. Kitts and Nevis for their continued support.
Good morning once again, and welcome back to our program, Policing with You. The lines are open now, you said?
Yes, sir.
Do you want to, Superintendent, can you put on your headphones, please? Let's take our first call for this morning. Hi, good morning.
Good morning. What about people who have asthma and so?
Question about asthma, gentlemen.
Hey, to keep on the mask all the time, it make you suffocating and stuff like that.
Okay, the regulations made some provisions for persons who are asthmatic or who have other conditions that the mask would make difficult for them to wear it. But you must have a certificate from your doctor certifying that you have this condition and that the mask would aggravate your condition and you will be exempted from wearing the mask once you have that letter from the doctor.
Fine,
so
but
if you have asthma or any lung condition.
Fine, but what's the alternative for protection?
Right. Well, the CMO has advised persons with those conditions, you are at higher risk, and so you definitely are to avoid crowds, avoid situations where you come in contact with other people. Of course, you would have to practice the other recommendations. Is keep your surroundings clean, keep your hands clean, and keep your distance from other people, because the fact that you have these conditions, it means that you're at higher risk, and so you don't want to find yourself in a position where you come in contact with persons. And
so in other words, avoid crowds
and follow the other protocols.
Okay. Let's get to the phone line. Line 1, you're live and good morning.
Yes. What about if you don't have the letter with you?
Okay.
Well, it's in your interest to have it with you, because if the police stops you when you're not wearing your mask, and you just tell the police that you have asthma, and you have a doctor for a paper from your doctor,
Right.
he's not going to accept your word because everybody would say that, and so it's your best interest to ensure that you have the letter with you. If you can't physically have it, have a copy on your phone, so you could show to the police and the police could authenticate and verify that what you're saying is true.
Line 3, good morning, you're live.
Good morning, GTO,
Hey, good morning, man.
and good morning to Superintendent Henry and to Inspector Alric Edwards.
Yeah, man,
Good
sir.
morning.
What is it?
Yes, brother. Yes. Now, I hear you are just laying out the protocol, especially you, Mr. Henry, is on the COVID-19 briefing and updating the Federation, especially these people who lack and fail to understand how deadly this coronavirus is. Because still on the passenger bus, most of these people who drive on this bus ain't have any mask at all. And I believe that you are the bar is soon open, and I believe you are to get down serious that police, and it was terminal that when the bus them full, they could see that these people, every passengers in the bus have on a mask. And the next thing again, before I go, I do not believe the police them does get much praise in the Federation when they do something great. And I want to commend those policemen who was at the scene at the frigate base with that robbery. I believe it was a wonderful move they make to prevent those guys from when they was doing those robbing. No shooting or nothing went on. Because if two of those guys were killed by the police, you'll hear negative things circling in the media, and all the media station them will have bring down the police to nothing at all. But still, they went and they do what they got to do, and throwing them guys before them, and nobody get shot, no bullet back or nothing. So we want to commend them and commend you all. You all doing a wonderful job. God bless.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. Any callers?
Not at the moment.
Hey, what are some of the things the police would have to consider when deciding to shut down an event?
Well, first of all, you have to get grounds to close the event, and I just outlined some of the grounds that the police would need to have. You violate the terms of your condition, then that is sufficient grounds to stop the event. But some of the things that the police would have to consider is, if I close this event, what is likely to happen? What is the size of the crowd? What type of venue it is? It is an open venue. How much can I control the situation if something were to go wrong in respect to public disorder? Do I have the resources available to deal with it? What is the mood of the crowd? And so you have to take all these factors into consideration to determine whether it is safer to allow the event to continue or to stop it, and then have to deal with the aftermath of stopping it. And GQ, I think we spoke about an incident that happened in Trinidad some years ago. I think David wrote a song on it, One More Officer. You could play that song for us. It arises from a fete that was happening in Trinidad, and the police stopped the fete. The band was asking, people were asking for one more song, and the police insist no more songs, stop the fete, and ended in a riot. People trashed the place,
Right.
burned the place, and
So
totally
you're saying, technically you're saying you still have to exercise
so
some
we
discretion.
still have to weigh the whole situation and make the right decision, because you could make one decision and end up with something that is worse than what you're trying to prevent.
Right. Let's go back to the phone line. Line 2, you are live, and good morning.
Caller with the same.
Hello.
Hi, morning.
Saying everybody could put number in his phone like the asthma thing, you know. It ain't everybody could put his phone like that. What about that? So put it in with the asthma. It ain't everybody could put his phone and put vitamin.
So walk with the paper. Make sure you have the paper.
Eh?
Make sure you have the letter from the doctor.
But suppose now you forget it home as I say again.
Well, if you forget it home and the police give you a ticket, it will be your fault.
So what about the Upper Hospital asthmatic infection got my name and Janet got my name? And you thing up there. What about the party?
The police
So
will not,
prove it. The name of hospital and Paxson.
the police
Both
will not be,
hospitals.
the police will not be able to call the hospital and ask them. The hospital will not give out your confidential information. I'm certain that you would not want the hospital to be answering everybody who call and ask if you're at asthma. That is your private medical
Condition.
information, and the hospital is obliged to keep that private. So the police cannot call the hospital to ask them what's wrong with you.
So, in other words, what you're saying is, if you are asthmatic,
If you're asthmatic and you have exemption, make sure that you have that exemption with you, so that if you're asked by a police or other compliance officer, then you could present that to show that you are exempt.
so that's one of the mindsets that we have to adapt to. Because remember,
Right.
COVID is about changes as well. So maybe that's one of the changes we have to adapt
so
to.
You have to really
Right. Make the extra effort.
to try and remember.
Once you have a driver's license, you have to have it for driving. So, me honestly,
It's the same thing.
It's
If you,
the
don't,
same
if you
thing.
don't have your license, and that's a good example because people always tell us, well, obviously I got the record, I could check the record and see if I got a license. But that's not the point. The point is you're supposed to have
Well,
a license to show me. I'm not supposed to be able to call to ask if everybody got a license.
Gentlemen, I think that point is
Well made.
well made. Let's go back to the phone line. Line 3. Good morning, and you are live.
GQ, good morning. Good
Morning.
morning to the good officers them.
Morning, sir.
good morning, Jamdo.
Good morning is Superintendent Henry.
Yes.
I'm very disappointed over Nevis, where we've seen and a warning the Nevis Island government that they're going to respect the LOC, every member, because I hear the leader talking some stupidness this morning. You understand? And they will work with me in Syntax, who work hard to put this thing together. Police is not supposed to come in no committee with nobody. The minute the superintendent over there see the gathering, let him do the work. And appealing to all these politicians, to keep out the police work and let them do the work. It's nonsense, and the public is aware what's going on with them when they were on bars, linemen, and police come to do the work, especially on Pan Road, by them Spanish bars. And we at the circus very disappointed in a lot of them. When we hear the behavior of them. When I around there, the people going to walk, how we going to have our respect? We got immigrants coming here and disrespecting the young officers them in your town. When they come to execute the job from the station, by Henry, people know what's going on, And I have stopped sites with this thing with people moving. Real stupid. And a warning of all politicians, we is not item in Rams and Valley Mart. Use us when I have done and trust where. All the politicians, them, let me get the thing right. This is a pandemic, it's very serious. Let the police them do the work. I want to say something, Henry, very, very serious, because I got the only commissioner for this. I come on this program, we're clearly established here. Many times, and I told you about Mr. Brown, who does so much work for the police force in terms of electronic and fixing our equipment. He got sick. In a resident up there, you got people up there just playing loud music. The man can't even get rest. He dead now. God bless his soul. That is contribute to what was going on up there in the sick man. And me can't give the commissioner no props for them kind of things. The minute somebody bring their law to I supposed to go up there and tell them I want that in these residents. It's wrong. Have a good day. Always have a good day.
Thank you, sir.
Have a good day.
Have a good day,
Jamdo.
too.
Right.
Any responses, or we can move on to the next call?
Let's take this guy. I think Jamdong's point is well made. He's usually clear in his points.
Okay. Good morning. You're live.
Hi, President. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
I don't think that asthma should be used as an excuse for not wearing a mask. And the reason why I say that, as long as the mask is clean and it's of breathable material, it is okay. Depending on the age of the child must be taught how to use or administer the pump in the event that the child needs it. Bye.
And I would tend to agree with you, but the regulations provide exemptions for those persons who are suffering. And the CMO has said in the past too that if you're asthmatic and the mask affect you, you mean that you not have your asthmatic condition under control. You mean that you need to be on your medication more. you need to see a doctor, because you should be able to wear a mask. Maybe not as long as a person who is normal, but you should be at least able to wear the mask, have some tolerance for the mask, and just remove it occasionally, even if you're asthmatic. And if you cannot do that at all, then that your condition need checking into, and so you should see a doctor.
All right, let's take the next call. Inspector, we'll get back to you. Good morning, you are live. Okay, we lost that one. Let's try line 3. Good morning, you're live.
Yes, GQ and the inspector there. Good morning, good morning.
Morning.
I don't come a hot like jam down, you know. Because I think I went away and I couldn't do no stupidness in the country. These people come in here doing as they like. One lady down there 2 weeks ago with 2 children. They spoke to her from Jamaica and she had to take home her kids. I notice now these people, Hispanic people, Spanish people, how the kids running back and forth there by me bar. Suppose I trip them now. I could happen to come up my bar oppositely and the little child trip in front of me. You look at gang of them come out to chop me up or beat me up, you know, because they're very high temper. I beg all you come down there, come check it out for me. I don't like it. The children them just 5 and 4 and they're running up and down there. Tell the people them carry home the children after school. That is not a place for children. I think it's just for big people. The lady take home her children and I see her bring them back last week.
That's done at the ferry
Policeman
terminal.
just spoke to her and she didn't bring them back. So please come and speak to them. They ain't born here. They ain't supposed to have no authority over us. Oh, government don't give them a lot of privilege already over us, make us can't in a sail.
She didn't say where she is located.
Suspect is the ferry terminal, but we'll have the officers, ma'am, to pay attention to that issue with children running around. I think it could be dangerous. I mean, the ferry terminal is a very busy place with vehicles, and so to have children that age running around could be dangerous. So I would have the officers pay attention to it. If it is the ferry terminal she's referring to.
Do you know what's really funny? I would have studied in Taiwan, and once you have a common cold in Taiwan, in fact, once your sinus is aggravated, you have to wear a mask. It doesn't matter if you're asthmatic or not. And in the university, everything is in the doctor, the pharmacy, everything is on the compound. And once you start to sneeze, they will tell you coach out. Coach out means mask. You have to wear a mask all day. Are you fighting mask? Are you running mask? When you're sick, everybody have to do it. I know it's something new, but it was something new for me and I had to adapt to it. So we appeal to person to try and adapt. It's the new normal, and so it may be here for a time. Nobody knows how long it will be here, but let's adapt. The life that you save could be yours, and so that's what I really want to say. Let's continue. What role do you think patrons can play to help keep these events safe and everyone's health?
Patrons have to recognize that they too have a responsibility. The organizers have some responsibility, but the patrons have responsibility for their own safety, for their own protection in preventing themselves from becoming infected. And so they must do the things that keep them safe. Wear your mask, keep your distance from the person closest to you, and keep your hands sanitized. Avoid touching surfaces that is frequently touched by other persons unless you know that that surface is sanitized. So the patrons need to take personal responsibility and avoid putting themselves in situations that increase their risk.
Thank you, sir. It is important for people to understand that these events, when given approval, are given guidelines. So, apart from these events, what areas are we doing well in, and where do we still need to step up?
Well, I think, we are controlling the number of activities, such activities. We see there were 2, but there are many more that have been applied for. A lot haven't made the standards, and so we do not hear about all of them in the public, but there are a lot of applications that comes in, and I think we filter these applications, and those that we think really do not meet the standard, do not meet up the requirements, they are rejected or declined. So I think we are doing a good job in controlling the number of events and all the activities that are held. Persons have to apply for permission. So again, we are ensuring that persons apply and not just decide to keep an event. So we know where the events are being held and what type of activity and what are the conditions set for those events. What we are working on right now is an application that would make the application process and the management of the applications much easier. Persons very soon will be able to apply online. There's a website that we are developing.
Oh, a standard.
Right. So there will be a standard form that persons, depending on the type of activity, there will be certain information that you'll be required to complete in the form, and so persons will go online, submit their application, and they will get a response via email, and the police would have a record of all those activities that were approved and the conditions. So the officer on the street who is on patrol, he'll be able to access the site, and he will see a list of all the activities that are approved, who are the organizers, the organizers, and
so if he's passing an event, he can rectify and see that event has been approved or not.
Right. So if he's see a party going on at GQ House, he could go on his system and put in GQ name.
It will be approved, eh?
And he doesn't see anything. Right. He doesn't see anything there for GQ, then he knows that chances are GQ didn't get permission. So you pay attention to those where there's no record of the. And furthermore, even if it is approved, he will see what are the conditions of that. So he will see where GQ only has permission for 50 people. But he noticed there's a line of 100 people outside waiting to go in. And so again, he could...
So some engagement.
Yeah. So he now has more information to determine which person to engage and which...
And do his job properly.
So he'll be armed with more information. He'll know exactly what is supposed to be happening there. And if he sees something different happening, then he'll take the appropriate action.
All right, let's take some more calls. Line 1, you are live, and good morning to you.
Yes, good morning, GQ, Superintendent Henry, and Inspector Edwards.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
What I'm saying, for some of the events, I'm just making a suggestion. Some of those events where you need to have crowd control. What I'm thinking, probably you can have somebody maybe from the task force or police or somebody at the entrance, at the gate, and the specified number that was given to be at that event. Once you reach that number, you don't allow anybody else to come into that event. And like that, you can have a better control over if the event, if the venue permits that kind of
control.
Control, yeah.
Yeah, good point.
That's my input.
All right.
Thank you.
Let's take another call. Line 2, we lost line 2. Line 3, good morning.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Mr. President. Now, Megan, politics here.
Yes, sir.
Now, I do not believe no excuse should make for nobody not wearing a mask with asthma. I got a good friend of mine, she's asthmatic. And I tell you, plain, every time I meet that lady in Bass here, she have a mask. Me now look at her, easy tongue along now. She said, me don't have asthmatic already. You want anything you get me? You understand? So some people just find excuse because of whatever they want to make excuse for. And the next thing again, some people are calling on the radio with nothing serious at all. I thought they concerned. If you see some children there down the terminal, then some parents must be around. You go to the parents and talk to the parents about the children them. I don't see some people that come on the radio with it. I see a police there, you tell the police them, look, some children there, they don't have no parents. Come in on the radio and talking about people from here. And some of them who talking about people from here, they live most of their life out of the country, you know. Do they make it to social security back here in thinking? I don't like it at all about people from here. All right then.
Thank you, sir.
Well, before we continue and we take another call, I just want to exclaim something that I've heard before. One of our hosts here on our program, Frank and Candid, Mr. Blake, he's been echoing a statement all week long. Everyone is entitled to their opinion.
That's correct.
That doesn't mean their opinion is right. Doesn't mean that their opinion is wrong. It is their opinion. And I want to not one, but ask you to acknowledge that fact going forward, instead of having this back and forth. The lady made her point, and in the sense of what I'm trying to promote, I let you had your say as well. So I'm not demoting or knocking down your opinion. But going forward, let's try to avoid attacking each other because of their opinion. If you don't agree with it, you don't need to come on the radio and express your disagreement. Leave it alone and move along. It's not that serious, just like how you indicated. So I'll let going forward, let us just acknowledge that. If you're upset, leave it alone. No need to call in on the radio and exhibit your anger towards someone else. Everyone is entitled to their opinion.
Good point.
That's correct. But you could express your disagreement without attacking the person's opinion.
Well, that too. So let's
your disagreement is your opinion.
Right.
If your opinion disagrees,
right,
or conflicts with the other person's opinion.
True. But let's not attack each other.
Right. The attack is.
Yeah, the attack is not necessary. Right. No. Good morning. You are live.
Hi. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
And good morning to all the officers. Mr. Henry, good morning, sir.
Morning, ma'am.
Morning.
Mr. Henry, I'm here listening, you all. You understand? And it's one thing getting me angry is that people cannot overrule a doctor's order. You feel me? People must learn to put themselves in people's position. If somebody has an illness, you can't overrule a doctor's order. If it was them, there wasn't going to like nobody to be saying a doctor paper in excuse to say you cannot wear a mask. I have a doctor paper. For what? What I'm going to do, I'm still going to try and protect myself, Mr. Henry. I'm not stupid, I'm not dumb.
Right.
You understand? But I will not keep the mask on my face if I'm in an area for 4 or 5, 6 hours. I will put it down and take it back up, put it down and take it back up because I don't want to get sick neither.
Right.
So people must learn to be real and stop being selfish. You understand? A doctor's order stands higher than anything else. Because if you jeopardize somebody's health, you're putting them in jeopardy to die. Just like the COVID, and people up and down talking about COVID, it's a personal decision how you want to live your life. If you want to go out there and no wear a mask and you get sick, and God forbid you just nobody else get infected from you. But the government can do everything. The medical tasks. They could only encourage people in the federation to do what is right. God give us rules and regulations every day and we break them like drunken sailormen. You understand? So people must be real and people must stop being selfish. If doctor paper is issue, nobody has the right. That could be a court job. Nobody has the right to overturn a doctor's paper. And I don't know if you are talking about this today. I don't know if this is traffic or is a special
No, it's policing with you.
Okay.
We're discussing the policies
Sunday,
of COVID.
Mr. Henry, coming from church, coming from west to east, down there where subway located used to be. It has this rental coming from east to west. Do you know that guy turned right up to Victoria Road? He turned right. So if I was speeding or at a little gas pressing, I would have hit him.
You had the green light?
Huh?
You had the green light?
Yeah.
Wow.
Right? I was supposed to go straight, and he ain't stopped. He turned. You understand? So when I reached out Victoria by Warner Park there, he want to go through by Lazak Road again, turning right. I said, who crazy man is this? You understand? So I said, all of that to say this, I can't tell people what to do, Mr. Henry. But you know who I am. I obey the law like crazy because when I'm right, you're gonna kill me. And when I'm wrong, right, I'm gonna fight for me right. But when I'm wrong, I'm gonna humble. You feel me? So people in these rental, they got to be careful who they're renting these vehicles to because they're going the wrong way. And they could cause accident and they could even cause loss of lives. A lot of them come from America, a lot of them come from England, all over the place because they drive there. They feel they could drive here. We drive on different side of the road. You understand? You all can be everywhere at all the time. You know? And I applaud you all, don't get me wrong. I applaud you all every day, Mr. Henry. Because I know we got some people out there, They're born to break laws. Have a good day.
All right, well, if you permit me to read a message I just got from a doctor, a well-known doctor here. He says, masks do not cause asthma attacks. They protect you in the event that there is COVID-19 infection around. Proper wearing of mask requires coverage of nose and mouth, not mouth only or chin, as is frequently observed. So here's a doctor is saying that the mask do not cause asthma attack. In fact, the mask protects you from becoming infected with COVID if someone around you has it. So there you go. I guess you would not be getting a doctor paper from that doctor who said that you cannot wear your mask.
Good morning, you are live.
Good morning, gentlemen, and how are you guys doing?
Oh, we're not too bad.
Okay, I was about to touch on that area that the lady just talked about. Yes, I think it's easier to wear the mask than to be on a ventilator.
Point taken.
Yes, and let us not surprise because COVID ain't going nowhere right now, it seems, you know.
And I'm shocked that people
Thank you for your call.
No, I have another point.
Okay, go ahead.
The event that took place in Nevis, I think I heard, the police there said sanitization of the bathrooms and so should be going on while the event is on. Yeah, but then if you don't have a big crowd of people, everybody up on one another, sanitizing the bathroom, you think it makes sense then?
Good point.
And having somebody said, somebody did say, have somebody from the task force go out and, by the events. But Lord, you're putting them people need the time too. People just have to go by what is said, the rules. And another thing, I think I heard someone saying, for the churches, you have to sanitize, you sanitize when you go in. So why do you have to sanitize again when you're coming out and at the supermarkets, and so you don't have to you sanitize when you're going in, but not when you're coming out and you touch up all kind of items in there, you deal with money in there, that's a sanitization when you're coming out. But then for church, you have to sanitize coming out too.
Well, you really should at supermarkets as well. The more you sanitize, you can't sanitize too much.
Yeah, but they do it when you're going in upon entering, but not exiting, unless you should have your own then.
But there is sanitization stations.
For churches.
So what do you say should be mandatory?
Yeah.
I agree.
But then you stated for the churches that you sanitize, of course, when you go in, when you enter, and still when you're exiting.
Right.
For the churches, well, I find it a kind of, kind of bias. But
yes.
I'll listen off here.
Okay. All right, gentlemen, we're about to wrap up, so we're going to take these next two calls, and then I will let you guys close out the program and address any one of the issues that was raised. Good morning, you are live, line 3.
Sorry.
Yes. Hey, go ahead, you're live.
For you take so long to answer me when you turn on the radio and you turn up. Please give me a chance, yeah?
Yes.
You phone up to her.
Yes.
You make it too much nice. I come meet you too.
Okay.
You're welcome. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning to the police officers there.
Morning.
My football friend there from the village.
Hey, Lolo, morning.
You don't need football?
I don't eat that fact now.
Are you get too out there like monarch?
Yeah, that's what you say, you're too fat now.
Okay, be serious now. I want to thank you all, police officers, all of you, for your service and the work that you all do.
Thank you.
I agree with Mr. Politics with the buses and the Vietnam, because I travel, go down to my part of the country, and when you reach in the busman ain't have a mask. Sometimes you leave the terminal, but when you're going through the country, you reach all road half a tree, no mask. Behind the bus driver, he ain't got on, them in front, he ain't got on. The seat behind him, the person to the window ain't got on. But I don't make sure put on mine, because I got to safeguard myself. When you look back behind, a couple of people, maybe only two to the back, have on the mask. Right? So I agree with Mr. Politics when he said, a lot of them don't wear them, and the bus driver, he ain't got on, so he ain't making his duty. If he have a mask and them coming in, passengers coming in, it's his duty now to see that they're coming in with a mask. You know? So that is a true fact. And to the police officers there, I'm making a complaint to you all. Do not have my friend up there look frightened, like I'm going to lock him up, because when I see him on the TV visual, he look frightened.
What?
and sleepy, and I don't want you to get him frightened up there and doing nothing. Man, I say good morning. And when I go to hear the thing that I ain't come lock him up to fix his face good. That when you watch him, you can see he look nice and handsome and so on. Okay, my boy?
All right,
I'll take you care of you, okay?
All right, Lulu.
All right. You have a good thing. That's all for your service.
Yes. Thank you for the laugh.
Wait, that was it.
Our final call for this morning. Good morning, you're live.
Hey, good morning. How are you, sir?
Hey.
And good morning to the two officers who are there.
Good morning, sir.
How are you?
Yeah. In relation to the event that was held over the weekend, I too was very disappointed. No, it's not maybe about it. Somewhere along the line, something went absolutely wrong. Because you cannot tell me that the persons who were given permission to have maybe just join a response 250, and you had, based on what I saw, you had over thousands of persons at that event. And as someone calling, maybe what the task force going forward, they need to police these things, because obviously the promoters are being dishonest. Because they're going to be writing and saying that they're going to have, maybe just join a response 200 persons, and you leave them up to themselves, and then they are making the whole system look bad. And at the end of the day, we are taking this COVID-19 still for granted, because God forbid you had COVID-19 at that event. You can see the effect that could have on the whole entire nation. That more than likely everybody had somebody who they know somebody, and you just go on and on and on. And we cannot afford to be going down that reckless road. It was reckless in my opinion. I too had a function, and I got the letter indicating what I had to do, and I governed myself accordingly. But some person, of course, everybody is not going to be like me. At the same time, we just have to realize that this COVID-19 is going to be around for a long time, and stop taking this thing for granted. We have a tendency in the Federation, I don't know why. When things happen, everybody wear the mask, and as soon 2-3 weeks, we go right back to basic. And we got this, we feel like COVID-19 is not going to affect us in a major way, and the borders are going to be reopening sometime soon. I don't know the exact date, but at the same time, we have to realize that there's a lot of persons on the outside trying to get back home, and they cannot get back home because of certain reasons. But as soon as the borders open, I guess they will have a better opportunity to come home. So we cannot take this thing for granted. Wear the mask when you're out in public, especially when you're in crowd of, in town and those places. And as soon as you get home, you release yourself and take off the mask. But seemingly, like some people don't like where they live, so they have to be up and down the place, and then they don't want to follow the guidelines. In relation to the bus, I'm not seeing any difference in the buses. The persons in the buses are still not wearing the mask. The bus drivers are not wearing the mask. The police are not doing anything. Because the buses are leaving from the terminal with all the passengers, no mask, and something is definitely wrong. So we need to come better than that if we really want to basically put ourselves in a good position. Have a good day, gentlemen.
Thank you for your call. That's going to be your final caller for this morning. Gentlemen?
You want to check anything,
No, I think the caller's point was well made. I think that last caller speak to people need to take responsibility for their own safety, for their own health. Mm-hmm. Those persons who would have gone to these events where it is overcrowded, where there is no social distance or physical distance, those persons who are using the bus and not wearing masks, they are being reckless and not taking responsibility for their health. I mentioned some time ago that the police should not be the one standing there to make sure everybody put on a mask. I mean, we are all adults, and children are exempted. And so the adults, they are required to wear the mask. And so we think that adults are supposed to be able to act responsibly and not have to have a police running behind you to give you a ticket or to make you put on your mask. That person is not acting responsible. Because in the final analysis, you are the one who are going to be affected. You are the one who are going to become sick. And then you're going to expose the rest of us to your sickness because you're irresponsibly behaving. And so again, we continue to make appeals to people to take these things serious, take the recommendations serious, and take responsibility for your own safety, and in doing so, you will protect other people.
Thank you, Mr. Henry. I too want to appeal to the general public to wear your mask. As I said earlier, We don't know how long COVID will be around, and the life that you save might be yours. Your wearing your mask is to protect you and protect the other person that you may come into contact with. So just conform with the regulation, the COVID-19 regulation, and wear your mask. Do all the necessary steps to protect yourself. Once you protect yourself, you're protecting the other person. I want to also thank GQ, the moderator, for this morning's proceedings. I want to also thank my guest host. I know he's a very busy individual, Mr. Henry.
You have to find another adjective for him.
I don't know what else I can say. To the management and staff of ZIZ for allowing us the space to have this show. I want to say a hearty thank you. For the person who may have called in, thank you. Without your contribution, this show is pointless. For the person who are thinking about calling in, I want to welcome you to call in. Thank you again, everybody, and see you next week.
Nice one. Have a good day, gentlemen.
In case you don't know us, you're just twisting that dial away and managed to bump into us. This is ZIZ Radio from Adam St. Kitts.